Hey everyone, it is Mr. Vargas here once again, looking to help out Math 8 with homework 3.6, page 225. A little bit of a winter theme going on with the background today and the red and white coloring. We'll make sure to keep it festive as we learn about writing linear equations, in particular working with what I call point slope form, and also we're going to be reviewing a little bit of slope-intercept form. Alright, and just a quick refresher, we've been talking about this in class. Point slope is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and then slope-intercept form y equals mx plus b. Now these two things are actually exactly the same, just different ways of expressing the same different thing. They're useful in different situations. This first one right here is useful for when we know a point and when we know the slope. And this second one is useful for when we know a slope and when we know a y-intercept, or where it crosses the y-axis. Okay, so those are some different uses. Nevertheless, let's jump into the homework assignment on page 225. Alright, with problem number 1, we are told that a line passes through, we're given the point 1, 9, and we've got a slope of 2. So here we know a point and we know a slope. Bada bing, bada boom. What do you think we are ready to use? We can go ahead and use point slope form. Easy peasy. Let me rewrite point slope form. And this is just going to be a matter of substituting in what we know, replacing what we know, plugging in what we know. Here I have my x1, y1, and my slope. You guys know that that is m. The letter m stands for slope. So I can just plug that information in, and it would look something like this. Y minus, remember, this y stays permanent, and this x stays permanent. Y1, which is 9 from up here, and that's equal to 2. That 2 comes from our slope, that's m, times x minus, my x1 is the x coordinate from my point, and that's just 1. Perfect, so that is one part of the problem complete. Now, the next part asks you to write that same equation, but now you need to write it in slope-intercept form. So, just to remind you guys, this is point slope form, and now we want to write it in slope-intercept form. And really, that's not too bad. All we have to do is focus on getting this y variable all by itself on the left-hand side and simplify the right-hand side. So let's start out by simplifying the right-hand side. I'm going to use the distributive property and multiply the 2 times the x and 2 times the negative 1. And that would just simplify to 2x minus 2. 2 times x makes 2x, 2 times negative 1 makes negative 2. Bring down everything else. Almost there. Last step. We're just going to add 9 to both sides to get that y all by itself on the left-hand side. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. Beautiful. Bring everything down that is left over. Y equals 2x. And then if I have 2 negatives and 9 positives, that would leave me with 7 positives. So here you go, in slope-intercept form, your equation looks like that right there. Go ahead and star it for our second answer. Alright, moving on to the next problem, let's check out number 4. Alright, let's jump to number 4. And here, number 4 says we have a line that passes through the point 3. So this is number 4, sorry. Number 4. We have a line that passes through the point 3, negative 6, and negative 1, comma 2. Okay, we're going to play the same type of game that we did with the first problem, but we just have to do one more step here. They didn't give us the slope this time, so now we actually have to find the slope between these 2 points, this point and this point, using our handy-dandy slope formula. Before I do that, I like to label my coordinates. So I'm going to call this one x1, y1, and I'm going to call this one x2, y2. And then I will use the slope formula to get the slope between those 2 points. And we remember the slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We can also think of this as the change in y over the change in x, or rise over run. So let's go ahead and just replace in our numbers and see what we get. So y2 is 2, coming from this, minus y1, which is negative 6. Okay, all of that is over x2, which is negative 1, minus x1, which is 3. Okay, let's go ahead and simplify that. For the top part, I've got a double negative, 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 and we remember from class that a double negative makes a positive. So here I really just have 2 plus 6, which is equal to 8. 8 over, and now I've got a negative 1 minus 3. So if I have a negative 1 with 3 more negatives, that makes that a negative 4. And 8 divided by negative 4 just means that m is equal to negative 2. Awesome. Now that we have our slope, we can use point slope formula. Once again, point slope form is just y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Let's plug in our information. This is that third step. I've got my m equal to negative 2, so I can put that right there. That x stays permanent, this y stays permanent, the minuses stay permanent, and the equal sign. Okay, going back up to our original point, x1 was 3. Plug that in right here. And y1 was negative 6. So we've got negative 6 there. Alright, so this would be endpoint slope. If you wanted to simplify it just one more step, negative negative makes a positive. So here y plus 6 is equal to negative 2 times x minus 3. That would be your very first answer for point slope form. Okay, now we have to rewrite this equation in slope-intercept form. Which is just y equals mx plus b. Alright, we can do a little bit of simplification. We just basically need to get y all by itself on the left-hand side. So, coming from here, this first blue star, we've got y plus 6 equals negative 2 times x minus 3. Let's distribute here and here, which just gets you negative 2x, and then negative 2 times negative 3 makes a positive 6. Bring everything else down, and let's simplify. Let's get y by itself on one side. Draw my mirror. What's bothering my y right now? That plus 6 is, so I'm going to subtract it away. But whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side to be fair. Good. This cancels out. Y comes down happy, and free. The 6's, 6, so a positive 6 take away 6, that also cancels out. So that worked out nice. And then you can bring down the negative 2x. So there you go. There you have it in slope-intercept form. Alright guys, that's pretty much what you have to do for the rest of the problems as well. Good luck on your assignment, and I'll see you in class.